are now tuned in to Coffee Talk on LE Radio. Serving you up some new flavor, fresh out of ATL. Where the vibes prevail, the convo's held between a scale of 1 to 10 exceeds 1,000. But do you feel me? Go ahead and get your cups ready as we pour into your mind, slow and steady. You may need a full cup for this. CoffeeTV.com. We got raw and adulterated conversations, live, provocative entertainment, new flavor in your ear from our podcast talk show radio. Watch us live online in the studio. Tell a friend they can come too. Never know what's in store with the whole crew. Cause we got you, we got you. Yeah. Get here for the vibes. Follow us at LE Radio Live.
Ink flows, orgasmic, onto the pages of my journal. A love eternal between pad and pen. Separation, literary sin. And this is where our love affair begins. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Poetic Artistry. I'm your girl, Lady Poetry. And tonight we have an extra special guest that's going to be coming on to kind of give us that flavor that I like. We're going to be talking about community activism through art. So I'm really excited to have her on. So, like we always do, come in, sit down, have your wine, get you a sip on, get your cup and everything, and just relax, relate, release from this week, and come enjoy some poetry with me. All right, so just to kind of go over some things, you are, of course, tuning into Coffee Talk, Coffee TV, so you definitely need to make sure that you go to our social media site to make sure that you keep up with everything that we got going on, all our showcases, all of our events that are coming up, and everything else like that. So make sure you tuned in for that. So tonight, we're doing the Poetic Artistry show. And like I said, I'm really excited for the guest that we have coming up. So just a little bit about her. So this woman is a freelance writer. She is a poet. She did a TED Talk. Like when I say like everything all up into one, her energy is amazing. Like I'm just really super excited to have her on tonight's show because I think everybody's going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it. And we're just going to have her, like, without further ado, we're just going to have her come on and introduce herself and give her pedigree. So without further ado.
Hey. Yeah, what up, though? Good evening, everybody. Hi, I'm Tamora Israel. What's up, Brittany? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good today, man. I got my wine with me. Like, let's do this.
Good. I had some shots before we started. So I'm not gonna be sipping with you, but I'm there in spirit. So so tonight I'm so excited to have you on because tonight topic we're doing, like I said, is activism, community activism through art, which is a big thing for myself as well as you. Yes. So before we kind of get into the topic and get started on that, can you just introduce yourself to everybody so they know who you are?
For sure. What's up, everybody? My name is Tamora Israel. I'm a poet, performer, podcaster, freelance writer. Poetry has been a part of my life since ever. And finding social justice has been kind of like the spark that keeps me going. When you find that extra thing that just kind of puts a little pep in your step, that's what social justice is for me. I'm just trying to make the best of what I have and, the little part of the world that I have. I'm just trying to make it better, just working hard to put some love and kindness out into the universe.
Absolutely. And that's awesome. You definitely do. Because like she said before, she's a podcaster. So this is kind of like a cross
show. It's so weird.
So basically tell everybody a little bit about your show.
Oh, for sure. I have two podcasts. One is a morning podcast that I do with my buddy Emily Entwistle, and that's Coffee with Teas every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. It is early as fuck, but it's kind of it's easy. Like, it's a morning show. It's really fun. We do holiday of the day. There are new holidays every day, more than I could have ever thought. And we talk about a little bit of social justice, and it's just like light and fun to get your Tuesday morning going. And I just started the Uncorked Poetry podcast, and I interview poets. The goal with that podcast is to just grow it and hopefully start paying poets for their work, because, as you know, poets, we're not running around and like Bentleys around here. So I'm just trying to, help poets out a little bit. And eventually, starting again, I'll have the Uncorked Poetry podcast, where I interview community people in the community about their talent, their community contributions, and their business ventures. So that'll come back later in the year. But yeah, that's what I do. Podcasting has been really fun for me.
Absolutely. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get down to the TT part of it now. So I like to ask everybody, basically, what kind of started your journey, your poetry journey? Like, started with words and just putting them together and they rhyme and all of that good stuff.
Oh man, I started writing poetry out of spite.
Really?
Oh yeah. So I am one of four. I'm sorry, I'm one of five. I am the middle child and the only girl. And my other brother is closest to me in age. He's 3 years older. He started writing poetry when I was like 12. So he was like 14, 15. And he's like the smart one, So he came home with like this project. He got an A on it. Of course, is what he does. He's like, I do poetry now. I was like, I want to do poetry. He's like, you can't do poetry. You're not smart enough to do poetry. I was like, oh yeah? Okay. So I started writing poetry out of spite to show him that I could. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And I've been doing that since I was 12.
So sibling rivalry got you.
Well, tell me I can't, damn it.
Awesome. That is so funny that it's out of spite. Like, because usually most emotions kind of drive people to write. So normally when people are like, oh, something traumatic happened to me, something good happened to me, I was inspired. But your story is like, yeah, I wanted to prove somebody wrong and I ended up being good at it, So
yeah, it just happened to work.
That's awesome. So so with that, in the beginning part of it, everybody is over here. We got some comments laughing about it. That's actually a really good origin story. Like, so take it from starting on to like, when did you kind of look at it as more of like a career path? Because I know you do freelance writing and different things like that. So when did it branch off from just writing poetry out of spite to this is potentially something I want to do for the rest of my life?
Probably happened. Well, not probably. It happened in college. I moved from, born and raised in New York on Long Island, Strong Island, Yankees fan for the rest of my life. Do not watch baseball. Not even a little bit. I moved to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and I started to go to Four Seas. And I used to have really crazy stage fright. Like, I used to shake like a leaf on the stage. And going to Four Seas really helped me to be comfortable on stage. And that's when I found out that, you can perform poetry rather than just like read it standing in front of a microphone. You can perform it like a piece. And going to college and being in a theater program really helped me broaden the idea of what poetry can bring to the world. So being able to be on the stage and comfortable, not just within myself, but comfortable with my poetry and what it means to me and to the people around me, just made me feel like I can actually do something with this. Like, I can write a book, I can be on stage, I can like share my words in a way that people kind of come on a journey with me. So being in college really opened my eyes to the possibilities of poetry.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's usually what I've noticed with a lot of people, like that high school, college age is kind of like where, all the doors open up and for people as far as like thinking. So we're going to ask really quick, do you have a piece that kind of maybe is your favorite piece or one of your older pieces or something like that you would like to share with us?
Yes, I have a favorite piece. It's during a time when I was having writer's block, and dear God, the writer's block is such a bitch, man. Like it is unforgiving, and it's like you just gotta wait. Like that's it. You just gotta wait to be ready. So while I was dealing with this writer's block, I just happened to write this poem, and just kind of got out of it. So it's called "I Used to Be a Poet."
Yes.
I used to be a poet. What do I want to say? How do I say it? Where does it come from? My words used to flow from my mind, tickle my tongue, and sail from hand to pen to paper. Every stroke gliding like the practiced hand of a serial killing surgeon. A slash here and a hoop there. Half-hearted ease, angry aids, and also sexy wise. A wink to all the G's and sort of steady with ease. Oh yes, I used to be a poet. But for the life of me, I can't remember the last time I kissed a vowel goodnight. The last time I made a consonant feel special inside. And I sure as hell can't remember the last time I took an adjective out to dinner. I know I must have been young, different, small. My mind burned with a desire to fly, to escape from the day. Being a poet was a part of my brains installed in my mainframe, free from judgment. I didn't care what you thought about me or how you made me feel, because I knew that with a whisper and a flick of a hand, I can make you disappear. And God help you if you caught me on a bad day, because you know that shifty guy, the speedway you love to hate, I can make him piss in your Frosted Flakes and convince you it was milk flavored lemonade. They stopped making my kind of crazy. I suggest you behave. Well, you bet your ass I used to be a poet. Fools used to fall over in trepidation, none of them cloaked in preparation. I was the embodiment of devastation, a lyrical sassmouth with a reputation. America's nightmare, an educated Black woman with a chip on my shoulder and honey time to spare. But nonetheless, I lost my step. And instead of living to write, I was living to forget. The perpetual failures mixed with the divorces, being surrounded by addiction, waiting for the ones I love to be ready to quit. That fucking mirror, I don't dare glance in. It all got to be too much, so I just gave up. I used to be a poet. Those who prepare for today, yesterday, will never hesitate to tackle tomorrow, but pride is hard to swallow. And when mistakes are made, learning needs to follow. I'm bringing back the swag. I got my head on right. When life throws a jab, I duck under and strike. No time to cry. I'm engineered to survive. Lightning in my stomach, determination in my eyes. I cast doubt aside, and I wake up every morning knowing I'm a goddamn poet. End of poem.
Woo! That was so good. Like, I love that. Yes, yes, yes. I love that so much.
Thank you.
Like, really a lot. And what I like about your particular style is like how descriptive you are. Because like with your method of storytelling is crazy. I really, really like that piece. Like every single bit of it. Like I'm over here like trying not to disrupt you by snapping and everything. So I'm like, damn. So you had writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, what inspired it. But like what kind of drew you to put that down? Because considering that you were pretty much locked up, like what was that final thing that was like, you know what, let me sit down and try?
Word. I thought I was done. You know, I wrote this in college, and I was really into theater at this time, and I was memorizing scripts and stuff like that. I was like, I ran out of room in my brain for poetry. Like that's it. Like I'm full. That's it.
Yeah.
So I sat down one day. It was just like, I guess I'm done with being a poet. So I used to be a poet. And then it just happened for like 3 days. I just worked on this thing and it just fell out of me. And, you know, when you have like those artistic moments where you're just like, holy shit, this is great. Like that was what that was like.
Right. Where you kind of like surprise yourself that you're like, oh my God, I'm doing it.
Right?
Like,
You're like, look, I did it.
That was such an awesome piece. And you know what's so funny is that at least me in my experience, like when you go through those bouts of like writer's block, that first piece that you write right at the end of it, when you come out of it, is usually like the hardest thing ever. Because it's like literally the floodgates just open up and you find every single word that you thought you lost.
Right? And it's just like a surprise, like some bitch.
Right. Okay, so to get out, so you from Strong Island, New York, okay,
yes.
And then moved to Massachusetts. So so you went to Massachusetts for school, correct?
No, I I did the gayest shit ever. I don't suggest it. So I met a woman and we fell in love, and then I moved in with her 3 months after we met, and then we got married 3 months after that.
Oh God.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't
Yeah, no.
don't do that. No. That marriage did not work out. Surprise, surprise.
Oh no.
But after the marriage dissolved, I just stayed on Cape. I just liked it. I had been there for like, by then, like 8 years, 7, 8 years by the time we divorced. So I just decided to stay. And I was on Cape for like 15 years. And then I moved here to Columbus, Georgia, August of 2020.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you just got to Georgia.
I just got here.
But so you stayed in Cape for a while. Yeah, that was probably the gayest shit that I could think of.
Yeah, that's pretty gay.
But hey, we live and we learn.
Right.
We live and we learn. So,
Lord, don't do that, guys.
So while there, I'm sure you got a lot of inspiration. You talked to me previously about a mentor that you had there. So did you, in your writing path, going through, learning all these screenplays and everything else like that, like, how did you get this mentor, or how did that happen to be linked with that person?
Funny enough, they were at the college I went to, Cape Cod Community College. And I noticed that they didn't have a African-American club or like a unity club or anything like that. So I was like, I'll just start one. So there was a deactivated one that Kathy Andrews was running, my mentor. And I went to her club, to her office. I was like, yo, I want to start this club. She's like, you need like 75 signature. I was like, bet, be right back. So I was back in a couple hours, like, here, now can we start this fucking club? And she just took me under her wing. And she's been my mentor, my life mentor, my relationship mentor, my just everything for so long. She's been like my second mother, Kathy Andrews. She's absolutely amazing. And she's still my homie, and she's Cape Verdean, like you.
Yes, like me.
Yes.
So this when you said live, because that's the thing that I tell people about, because a lot of other people know about Cape Verdeans. We are very, as a people, we are very much just taking in everybody. Like,
yes.
We attach ourselves to. You're now family, and you're not going to get rid of us. So that doesn't surprise me that she's like a second mom to you at all.
For sure. She has so many children that aren't hers.
Definitely. That's awesome. So let's see. Can we get like another taste? I know that piece is really dope. So let's get another one now. Before we get into that, do you have a preference of like topics that you like to write about?
I write a lot about like finding the inner part of yourself, because I struggled with that for a long time. Just being comfortable in my own skin for a long time. So I write a lot about that. Just learning how to move about the universe as your true self. It's still like a challenge for me. So I write about that a lot. And just like inner strength and knowing who you are, and just get the fuck back up. Like, whatever happens, get your ass back up and keep going. So I read a lot about that.
Okay. So I always ask people, like, what type of poet are you? Because you know how they have like those memes and things where they have the really prolific poet, you have the player poet, you have the really soft-spoken poet, you have the very loud that walks off the stage with no mic type poet, the slam every other word rhymes, cat hat sat type poet. Like, what type of poet do you think of yourself, or do you even put yourself in a category?
I never really thought about it. I guess like, that's a really good question. If I had to think about it, I guess I'm like a teaching poet. Like, let's sit down and like let's learn together. Like,
okay.
I just want to share a little piece.
Something to think about, basically.
Word, yeah.
Okay, I like that. All right. So if we could have another piece.
Word. This one took me entirely too long to finish. You know, like those poems where you're just like, can we be done with this? Right. Can we be done with this? So I finally finished it a few weeks ago, and I really like the way it turned out. It's called Looking for Peace.
Okay.
I'm trying to find my peace and keep the demons at ease. When they step out the closet, I hit them with these. growth and forgiveness for myself and others. I'm clapping back at my snapshot of trips and blunders. My mind is playing tricks on me. What else is new? Depression? Shit. We go back like street light curfews. Anxiety, stay eyeing me, ducking and diving. And that bitch ain't never too far from the blueprints. She been waiting in the dark for a mood change. It's time to stop boxing back at these feelings. Elbows in, hands up, back, heel it. Yo, I'm determined to be vocal. It's important for progress. So when the demons advance, I'll be sure to sidestep. Wild woman, rumble wolves, I swim in the deep end. Jab assault package, yeah, my hits this season. I can't believe it. I'm strong enough to fight my demons. I'm full of fed up and I'm giving it away. It's time for pros and cons to get weighed. One step at a time, piece at a glance, continue to advance. I learned how to build back different. My demons catch hands. If you find yourself in my position, where the flashbacks of your past transgressions slow you down on your missions, remember all the good you've done in your life and all the people you helped. Force your flashbacks to double back and zoom in on joy. Forgiveness begins within yourself, just like love. So keep pushing forward, because that's all you really know how to do is get back up. So get back up, because you got work to do. And in case you haven't heard this today, I believe in you. End of poem.
Yes, I love that. Very uplifting and empowering. And how long did it take you to write that one? Since you said it took too long.
It took like a good 4 months, because I kept getting stuck like in the middle of it. And I was like, okay, I'm done. It's like, it can't end there. It's just, not that I like a happy ending, but things don't have to end happy, but they have to, for me, they have to end with the choice of triumph. So you might not win, but at least you choose to try.
Right.
So that's how I like a lot of my poems to end. Just, you're going to fall. You're most likely going to fall, but get your ass back up and just keep trying, just over and over again. The key to success is never quitting.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So yeah, so to kind of get into it, because you also referenced that you have a background in theater and everything like that. So do you find it, because I'm one of these, do you find it easier just to try and memorize everything and to perform it that way, as opposed to having to read it? Or do you have a preference on how you like to, are you one of those poets that use the whole stage when you're actually performing, or do you kind of sit in one spot? How do you flow on the stage?
I like to have it memorized on stage. I hate paper on stage. And if you like paper on stage, I'm not knocking anybody. Do whatever's comfortable for you. But for me, I need to not have paper on stage, because I have a very short attention span. So if I have paper on stage and I hear it crinkle, oh my God, what's that? No, I need to pay attention. And I like to use the whole stage. I want to move around. I want to feel the stage, and I want to see people's faces. I want to see how you can look at someone's face as you're giving a poem and feel how they're receiving it. I want to fucking see that. I love that part. I love that part. So yeah, I like to move around the stage, and no paper on stage for me. Memorizing is a bitch, but it's good.
So kind of going into, like you said, about how you like to see people feel it or whatever. Have you ever gotten a reaction from a poem that you were expecting at all from an audience member? Or did somebody come up to you after the show and and give you a reaction to a particular piece where you're just kind of took you back on?
Yeah, for sure. I've had both ways. So I've been on stage with a really serious poem, and then people start laughing. I was just okay. You never know how audience is gonna take a piece. And I've had people, tell me that my poem really hit them in a way that made them feel sad, or they went on the journey with me. It's so weird to say it like that, but that's, I don't know. I've had people come to me afterwards and just be like, I had no idea that I felt that way until you said it. And I was like, well, that's weird, cool. It's cool because you made that, but it's weird because you made that.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I firmly believe that poets give words to the speechless in a lot of cases, where they're just, we have a way of arranging things to kind of speak to others' feelings. So that's why I'm always appreciative when I meet other poets, because it's we We are the spellbounders. Like that's how I feel.
Yes. we got the juice.
Right, you got the juice. Okay. So kind of leading into kind of more so on the topic with the community activism. So what made you think, hey, I have this really cool talent. I really like doing it. How can this help my community? Like how were you able to bridge that?
Again, it happened in college. And so when I moved from Long Island, a lot of culture, Black people, Hispanic people, white people, just like filled with culture, like New York is. But Cape Cod is not like that.
Yeah.
It was a huge culture shock. And I had this really weird thing where for some god awful reason, like white people thought it was cool to just like touch my hair whenever the fuck they wanted. And I was just like,
That is the quickest way for me to black out. It's for you to touch my hair.
Mercy. Yeah. So like I had like even a couple friends were just like, oh my God, your hair is so pretty. Like, can I touch it? And I was like, Susan, no, that's not a fucking thing. And just realizing the lack of knowledge that a lot of white people had, it made me just want to write more about it. But also like seeing so Cape Cod is a beautiful place. Love Cape Cod. I moved there when I was 21, there for 15 years. I became an adult on the Cape. And because I love it so much, I want it to be better. And there is a large amount of racism on Cape. And I didn't really see it at first because they slick about it. They real slick about it. But as it became more visual to me, because you gotta kind of look for it. It made me just want to be more involved. It made me want to say something. It made me want to use my talent to just speak on these issues. And it made me want to march. It made me want to, start clubs and shit like that. Like it just made me want to be involved.
Right. Wow. Yeah, because a lot of other people kind of feel like, oh, up north, there's not really any issues of like racism. In my experience, there's definitely a sense of racism and classism.
Oh yeah,
a lot in the north. And it's interesting that you say that because even like way back, like it's very deeply ingrained. And not a lot of people realize that. So because you were in that environment now, that's kind of like what spurred you to more of the activist. So what was your, how were you received? Because it couldn't have been like all peaches and cream, of course.
Nah. I've had a couple run-ins with people who didn't really see my view the way that I did, which is expected, but I firmly believe that it is so incredibly important to not just, I don't just want to yell at you. I want to yell at you. But I don't want to just yell at you. Like, I want to have a conversation. I want to understand how it is you got to this idea that you are more superior than I because the way your skin looks. I know society has taught you that way, but you know better. Like as a human, as a person who deals with logic and principles, I know that you know better than that. So let's talk about it. How did you get here? And what will it take for you to understand that you're no better than me because of the color of your skin? We're all humans. We all bleed red blood. So how do I get you to understand that? Let's talk about it. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I still want to do. I just want to talk about it. Like, just keep talking about it over and over again.
Awesome. So, so when you started the new association or organization at your school, like, how were you able to kind of have that conversation or facilitate that conversation?
Funny enough, with poetry, we hosted a lot of poetry slams, and we invited everyone to it. Everyone's invited to the poetry slam. So let's talk about some poetry, and then let's talk about our community. Let's talk about what we're dealing with. Let's talk about how to make everybody feel like they belong. Like the older I got, the more I understood how important it was to fit in socially. Like fit it in like with your friends and people who look like you, that's important too. But fitting into a system that was designed to basically fuck you over, learning how to fit into that was hard. And I wanted to understand it and talk to people about it. And do you feel the way that I feel about it? I wanted to dissect it, pick it apart, find out why it works the way it does, and then put it back together better.
Right. Nice. So from there, because I noticed you said the screenplay, so and then also you had a TED Talk too, which I wanted to ask you about that. Like, how did that come about?
Oh man, first of all, I'm a huge nerd. Like I love TED Talks. I love NPR. Like NPR is my shit. I listen to it in the background to get me hyped. Like NPR is my shit. So I don't know who it started with, but someone dropped my name to Ian, who was the person who was organizing the Provincetown TED Talk. And he contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do a TED Talk. And I was like, yes, I do. And he's like, talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I wanted to talk about my hair. I wanted to talk about race. That had already been done, and he wanted to expand things. So we sat down and we talked about, I said, I have to talk about race. Like, I just want to talk about racism. So we talked about consent and boundaries and in a post-Me Too era. That was the title of the TED Talk. And the idea was to put these two ideas of consent and boundaries when it comes to sexual assault, as well as race and racism. And we melded those two together to have a down, like a, not a down home, but like a talk about those topics in a poetic way. Because I did a poem at the end of my TED Talk, which was pretty cool. And that was really fun. It was one of the biggest things I'd done up until then. And it was electrifying. It was so much damn fun. I met so many cool people, doing TED Talks, and a lot of them I'm still friends with. So it was an amazing experience. It was really fun. And we got free food.
You got free food? That's good, y'all. That's what's up.
Feed us.
So college is kind of like that pivotal time for you when you kind of broke out into everything and having these talks. So do you find that when you perform in certain places, do you find that it's hard to write about race and kind of performing in any type of setting? Because I've had some poets kind of like, they kind of cater what they perform and what they're writing to based upon their audience, which is normal. But in those settings where you're pretty much like one of the only brown face in the room, like, do you find it difficult to have those conversations in those pieces? Or is it kind of like, no, this is what I want to do in this moment?
It was definitely difficult at first. It was uncomfortable because, yeah, most often I was the only person of color in every fucking room I walked in until I found like my tribe, my people on Cape, who looked like me. But before I found them, it was just, me jumping into these different conversations. And it was difficult at first, especially when you talk about race to someone who doesn't really understand it, also someone who's a friend. So having those conversations it's hard. It also not our responsibility. Like, it's not Black people's responsibility to explain what racism is to white people. It just isn't. Like, that's your job. But yeah, that was definitely hard at first. And then my mentor, Kathy Andrews, who's Cape Bird, like you, she helped me really lean into my culture and be comfortable with my Blackness and be comfortable sharing my stories with any audience. She's like, if they don't like you, that's fine. Not everybody will, but at least you know that you shared a piece of yourself that you're happy with, and that's enough.
That's it. Now, do you find yourself like when you're in those settings being like militantly Black? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, like when I'm in certain settings, I'm just me, I'm chilling. But when I find myself in those settings where I'm like the only brown face in there, I like my Blackness is like amped up to like 1 million power. So do you, especially like when I'm performing a piece that has to talk about certain things? So do you, like, when you were there in Cape Cod, did you feel like you was like on some like Angela Davis, I'm about to sit up here, like, just, like, was that, your motivation? Like, how did you feel?
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially if I'm, doing a poem about race, like, I'm leaning heavy and into the blackness, because listen, we can talk about this afterwards. Don't start no shit. Okay? Don't start no kind of shit. I'm open to any conversation. Don't come at me disrespectful. We're not gonna play that game. So yeah, for sure. Just like straight up Huey Newton, y'all not ready for this. Like going
Right.
into these conversations, yes.
Awesome. So, do you have a piece for us that kind of centers around that messaging?
Yeah, for sure. It's called Black is Beautiful. And when did I write this? I don't remember, but um I remember when the first time I performed it on Cape, a friend of mine was just like, sorry. Yeah. All right. Like when white people just don't really know what to say about race, just I, I, no, like
Right.
that conversation. Yeah. So this is Black is Beautiful. I'm slashing at the racist ideals with an ice pick. Get behind you and pump that bigot out like the Heimlich. Take a step back while I kill this shit. I'm a hybrid. Hi-hat and a half step. I stay killing that two-step. Take 2 steps back. I need my space. Take 2 steps back. Hands up to be safe. 2 steps back and look at the painting. Perspective is priceless. Not every terrorist bangs with ISIS. Look at home for the answer. Take a gander. Yeah, my brother was a hoodie, but he ain't no gangster. So keep your head up, little buck. Don't let them shut you up. Speak truth to power. Blaze the road of darkness with the light within. And if you stumble, and if you fall, stand tall and dust that shit off. We are kings and queens. Our crowns are embedded in our melanin. Black lives matter is more than a sentiment. For the little black kids who were told that they're one of the good ones, who were told that they sound so educated or speak so well, all that's nonsense. I wrap it around my knuckles. Tired of pulling punches in this perpetual struggle. The time to come up done came up. When is enough? Enough. Black is beautiful. I was taught how to be strong, how to be resilient. Swing a sword to anyone who dares approach the queendom. Step lightly, step with care. We will demolish you where you stand. We can withstand any storm you could think of. In the back of my mind, I'm always on notice. Got to be aware of that angry black woman syndrome, because God forbid we speak our truth. For the little black kids with coarse hair, hard to pronounce names, and attitude and sass for days, know that you are smart. Know that you are beautiful. Now, I don't care what anyone says. You are enough. Black is beautiful. End of poem.
Yes. Love that piece.
Yeah.
I'm always excited and appreciative when people write from a space where they can empower others. Because that type of piece is something that definitely everybody needs to hear, like all the time, because we have these negative stereotypes where they keep reinforcing everything. So basically, I love it when we talk about those types of poems like that. So to kind of circle back to what we were doing, um, I just want to take some time to kind of circle back to your TED Talk and the topic that you had. So, how did you formulate that as far as like going through for the entire TED Talk? Because to kind of draw those lines together is interesting. And then you said you had a poem that you have read after. Do you have that poem that
I
you heard?
do. I do.
Okay. So if we could talk about that, and then if you could share that poem that kind of goes along with it.
Oh, for sure. So I used a lot of Maya Angelou in the poem. I mean, in the TED Talk. Excuse me. She was my first introduction into poetry,
Hmm.
and she was the first poet that I like had like a love affair with. I love Maya Angelou, and that famous quote that she has: "People will forget what you say, and they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." Um, and once we know better, we do better. That quote I try to hold on to that all the time. Like, if you know better, do better. Like, there's not that there's no excuse, because there are exceptions to every rule, but if you're in a place where you can affect change and do so in a way that helps others, you should. If you know better, you should do better. So the connection of her, along with, I started off with the breakdown of how many people in the US deal with being close to each other, proximity, consent and boundaries.
Right.
So I found so many different percentages. So when we talk about how we relate to people in our personal space, our intimate space, and our stranger space, we deal with people in our universe and our worlds with we put them in different categories according to, like, if I were to meet you, like, we're kind of friendly, I'd be comfortable. And if we had to measure the space, like 6 feet, like,
Right.
space, with a stranger, like, I need some space. We do that with everyday people. So I concentrated on that. And I didn't know that 42% of people consider non-consensual hugging to be sexual harassment. I had no fucking idea, like, none.
Wow.
And I am a huge hugger. Like, before the pandemic, listen, I hugged everybody. Like, I fucking love hugs. Like, bring it in. Like, it's my thing. It's what I did. And that was also something I surrounded the TED Talk with, was I wanted it to be relatable, because I find that when I'm learning from a place of like being chastised doesn't work for me. So I wanted to, like, yeah, I hug people sometimes without their consent. That's not okay. Here's what else isn't okay. So I just kind of did it like that. And the poem, I put pieces of the poem into different parts of the TED Talk. So I would say part of the TED Talk, and then I would move to the side of the stage, and then I would say the first line of the poem, which was, I used to draw lines in the sand during windstorms. And I would say more of the TED Talk, and then I go back to that. I used to draw lines in the sand during windstorms. And then people got used to me, like, if I move over here, I'm about to say that, and it connects to this TED Talk. And then I did the poem at the end.
Okay. So could we hear the poem?
Yeah. So the name of this poem is Tedx Poem, because I didn't know what the shit else to call it. So,
makes sense.
yeah. It's kind of short, but I like the way it came out. I used to draw lines in the sand during windstorms. I'm changing my position, getting flexible with forgiveness. I spit my poetry in the mirror so my dreams are a vision. I practice persistently, but still perfect won't kick it with me. I'm finally up on my feet. I'm shaking hands with success and defeat. My limit is my limit. I don't have to explain it. Me, I like my lessons, dipped in questions, topped with information and sprinkled with patience. Hey, I have a suggestion. Let's take a second, take a listen. Let's stop running into empty, burning buildings without the facts. What we need to do is sit down and talk, ask a few questions, listen to the answers. What I'm going to do from this moment on is I'm going to lead with respect. All are welcome to join. End of poem.
Nice. Awesome. I like that.
I don't want to. Yay balls.
Right. Okay. So kind of going into the community active. So how, in your opinion, how is it that somebody could best kind of use their voice, their talents through art and everything like that to kind of help their community in any way? Like what was the process? Because like I said before, you're a freelance writer for Amplify POC. So like how can someone kind of get involved and use their craft to kind of help the community?
I would say find, if you don't know anyone who's involved with the organization, find one that you like. And organizations, especially ones that deal with racial inequities, are always looking for people all the time. So just connect with these people, go to their rallies, go to their meetings, and just find a group of people with a subject or a mission that aligns with yours, bring your talent with you, show them what you can do, and then just hit the ground running. Just keep going. Like just find people who are not just like-minded, but like universe minded, like heart
Right.
minded. Find people who believe wholeheartedly in the same things that you do, and you guys like Optimus Prime together, and then just like hit the ground running. Like just go find your people.
Okay. So with that kind of leading into, so let's talk about what you have going on.
Mhm.
So, aside of the freelance writing, everything, like where can people find you, your information?
Yeah, you can find me on the Facebook because I'm 100. I call it the Facebook. My professional page is Tamora Israel Artist page on Facebook. You can also check out the Uncorked Poetry Podcast on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at T Israel 83. T is real. I was trying to be clever, but it turns out I just have to like over enunciate when I do it. When I tell people about it. Twitter is the same thing, Tamora Israel, and you can follow me on my personal Facebook, Tamora Israel. Um, I share weird shit on my personal page, so if you're gonna do that, just listen. The weird's coming. Okay, just be comfortable with the weird. Um, I love weird shit. I love out of the box, just different kind of shit. So yeah, you can find me there, and yeah. Oh, I have a I'm not sure if anyone's going to be in Massachusetts May 23rd, but I'm flying Amplify POC and the Cordial Gart Artist Gallery is flying me up to back to Massachusetts to do a performance. I'm hosting and performing for A Way with Words. It is a 1 year, um, I guess, uh, 1 year like in memory to George Floyd and police brutality, and we are heavy, heavy, heavy with the honesty. So we will be on the Hyannis Green, 10 poets and wordsmiths just hitting the stage back to back, talking about police brutality, talking about Black Lives Matter, talking about what we can do to just make every community better. Because I think that if everyone just kind of takes the different parts of social justice that works for their community and apply it, we can all work a little bit harder to make things a little bit better.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So, to kind of boil on that, could you talk a little bit about Amplify POC and those organizations that you're currently working with?
Yes. So Amplify POC is started by my homie, Tara Vargas Wallace. She is uh, she's a she's an amazing person. I'm not sure if she sleeps. She might be a vampire in the
Mm.
best way. She started Amplify POC. It is a Amplify POC Cape Cod is an organization that amplifies businesses that are owned by people of color by giving the community a directory of businesses owned by people of color that people can patronize that people can go to and support on Cape Cod. We also do weekly stories on entrepreneurs and people who are doing different important things in the community. And that's something that I do. I write stories about different entrepreneurs and people who are working hard to make their community better. And yeah, Amplify POC is a really great organization. If you feel the need to donate to the organization, you can find them on Amplify POC Cape Cod on Facebook or online at amplifypoc.com. The
That's
Cordial Gallery and Artist Space is a gallery that is run by my buddy, my friend Anastasia Pacella. She's gonna kill me. I keep saying her last name wrong. I'm so sorry, Anna. And it is a place for artists who are, I guess, I call us non-conventional. Artists who don't really fit into a sort of a box that a lot of you know what? I'm not going to generalize people. So it is a place where people can use their art in different ways. It's a space to have your art and display it and work on your art in a place where you feel not only welcome, but it's open and you can just work on whatever piece of art that you have in a quiet space that is welcoming as well. And it's also, the event is also held by Polysonic Studios, which is run by Mualim and his son, Zig 808. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zig 808. Grammy nominated Zig 808. They're out here like killing it. So those three organizations are really important to the community, and they're also run by really amazing people.
Absolutely. Awesome. So we're kind of going through all of that. So we're kind of getting towards the end. So I would like a piece just about something totally random, could be totally different than what you've done tonight, to kind of just give us a full range sampling of what you got.
Okay, I got you. I have a poem called Inhale, Exhale. And this is like another one of those kind of soul searching poems when you just kind of feel like the world just doesn't understand you. This is kind of what that is. It's called Inhale, Exhale. She's trying to keep it together, Ben, rolling her shoulders to ease the pressure. Tina taught her how to do it while rolling on the river. Miss Patty led her by the hand and whispered, honey, if only you knew. She's just learning how to stand on her own. Who knew she had 2 feet? This whole time she'd been hopping towards progress, but now that her left found her right, man, she damn near gliding. She got her head in the game. She's ready to slay. Put a ring, coach, because the day is the day. Depression be damned. These feelings will not control her. Her spirit will not be defeated. She didn't know she possessed this type of strength until it was needed. You see, the universe has been reckless with her heart for years, gambling with her loyalty and trust. So after all the bets are in and love loses again, the universe offers her no apologies, certainly no sorries, no damn, my bad, is that me? When you start to fall face forward with your hands tied behind your back, well, things are going to get interesting. You try to twist and turn your body to soften the blow. Either way, the ground's coming up and you're going low. How did the elders say she's supposed to do this again, this adulting, living, loving thing? How do you fall with grace when you know you're going to fall on your face? When you hit the ground, remember to breathe. Now, get up, dust off, and keep it moving. No more getting lost in dark corners trying to MacGyver survival tactics. No. She's charging forward, swinging swords at her suicidal thoughts. Not today, Satan. She's got shit to do. Yeah, she's tired, and yeah, she's scared. But she's still standing. Blood trickling down her brow, but she made it. Fighting for the cause of her. Each second is sacred. She's a warrior, the loyal one walking through the fire. These cuts and bruises ain't nothing new to her. Fall, then get up. Fall, then get up. Each time she rises, she repeats her mantra. If she can inhale, she can exhale. She can take 1 step and then 2. If she can inhale, she can exhale. She can take 1 step and then 2. End the poem.
Nice.
Where? Just keep going.
Yes, you're awesome. I love, like I said, love the storytelling. I love your way with words. It's just awesome. I'm really excited about that. So, to kind of round everything out, what advice would you give to somebody who was just starting out, who was in the middle, who may be dealing with writer's block, who may be just dealing with all those things when it comes to their art? Like, what advice would you give them?
Try a bunch of different things. Try the poetry that makes you uncomfortable. Read poets that you wouldn't usually read. And give yourself a bit of a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. I think a lot of times we as poets are just like, if it's not perfect, it's shitty. Like, just be kind to yourself. And know when to like walk away from a piece and let it just like marinate for a little bit and then come back to it. And just like feed your artist. Like, make sure that you're looking at art that inspires you. You know, find the art that inspires you. Find what time of the day is best for you to create. That was something that took me a really long time to kind of nail down. What time of the day is it best for you to create? What are you doing when you are creating, how do you make the best art, and what are you doing when you do? Like, remember those things so that when you get lost, you can kind of find a roadmap back to your art.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us again tonight. Please tell everybody where they can find you one last time.
Word. You can find me on Facebook at Tamora Israel Artist Page. You can find me on Instagram at Tamora at T Israel 83. My podcast is Coffee with Teas. You can find that on Anchor, and the Uncorked Poetry Podcast. You can find that on Facebook and on Anchor.
All right. So thank you so much for again
Thank you.
coming in tonight. Basically, just kind of laying it all out there for us. I really appreciate, like I said, appreciate your energy and everything, and just kind of how like important it is. Activism is definitely is with our art because, like I said, as artists, we definitely want to make sure that we don't just misuse our talents. You know, we want to inspire, you know, calls to action and everything. So, and I believe that that's why you can, like people like yourself and artists like yourself, is very important.
Thank you, and thank you for having me tonight. I have a really great time, and this show is really fucking cool. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. All right, so thank you everybody tonight. So I'm going to say good night to
Good night,
you,
guys.
and then we're
Go
gonna keep
Yankees.
going. Yes, go Yankees. Definitely. All right, so thank you everybody tonight for coming through and just spending your Friday night with me. So I'm gonna give you a little piece from myself, and kind of draw everything to end because, like I say, the importance of poetry is not just to have poetry, just to listen to it and feel all the good feelings, but it's also a sense of community and call to action and inspiration. So I recently wrote a piece and I'm having to read it because I like literally just wrote it not that long ago. So I haven't had a chance to memorize it. But it's talking about poets and specifically poetry and how all of us together or are in this together. Um, so it is called, it's untitled currently, but I'm going to share it with you. So, the sad fact is, the more we hurt, the better we write. That is our truth. But we achieve healing through the writing, so full circle we go. Hurt to write, write to heal, heal only to hurt again. Strange, but I wouldn't have it any other way. See, because our art is our art and our passion is our passion, we refuse to let anyone capitalize when we are the ones ripping our souls into pieces, delivering it to the masses with every word that escapes from our lips. Dips into our world to ease the weight of complacent cognition. Yes, our mouths and tongues are better one when we are one and the battle is done. We will never win, but are meant to lose with every word that we spew. See, our souls, we lose parts of ourselves, hearts, lightly placed on shelves as we delve into each other's design, keeping in mind that we are truly two of a kind. So again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Every Friday, you will get Poetic So Artistry. I'm working on something really special for next Friday. We might get a little cipher going for next Friday, so there may be a couple extra poets that you'll see. So definitely make sure you tune in every Friday for Poetic Soul Artistry. Also on every Thursday, we have Coffee Talk Radio, so you can come in with me and Don, talk your shit, begin the end of your week. And then we also have ATL Mix that's going to be coming back too. Definitely need to check those ladies out because they are real raw and uncut. And then also on Saturdays, of which we may end up having to move around, we're still going to be the Random Acts of Healing with Miss Ami Brown. So stay tuned. Be sure to keep in line with everything that we got going on. Follow all our social medias. You can follow me at Lady Poetry 86. Don't forget to follow the show at LE Radio Live on Instagram as well as Facebook. Go to Coffee TV on YouTube. For those of you that's watching this on YouTube, you have all these avenues to follow us, so make sure you tune in. Thank you again for tonight. Have a great weekend.